I always like to make things. And I consider painting, in a way, making things. I like the physicality of it. I like the way that it takes time to make a painting. What happens is that you get to slowly build on things, and I like that accumulative process whereby a painting forms itself.
The paintings have layer upon layer upon layer of paint. That paint is what, in some ways, you're looking through in order to see the painting itself. So in the looking through, you're looking through history and time, because the paintings change constantly as they're being made as well. So when you're looking at the paintings, you're looking at the history of the making of those paintings.
I first went to Sydney University and I did an English degree, I did some law. My father was a lawyer. There was a sort of family push, but I very quickly sidestepped at that point in time. 1984, I go to art school. So I go to art school in Sydney, I go to City Art, and I study with all the old guard, like Alan Leach-Jones, who just passed away, Sid Ball just passed away, John Coburn passed away, Colin Lansley, who I taught with as well. It was an interesting time for me to study, but it was also in that time of neo-expressionism. And I was drawn, I guess, to abstract painting, hard edge painting, and so on.
When you're looking at David's work, besides his personal elements that he brings to the paintings, behind that there is the history of the 20th century of painting. Right back to Malevich and 1915 and his works from that period. So in a way you're looking at not just the work in front of you, but every other work that's come before. So when we think about Malevich or Rauschenberg or all of the several other major American painters in particular, and this draws really, I think, on David's experience living in New York as well, of being exposed to those types of paintings.
This is a single piece, so this is 18 panels. It's white silver phase paintings, and these particular paintings, I guess they evolved and they weren't originally going to be a grid, they were just one-off sort of experiments. They're painted on silver, and there was probably two reasons for that. So one was that the silver was quite unstable. In a way, it added an ephemeral quality to them. So as the light was shifting in the studio, or depending on how you presented it in different gallery scenarios, you would have a different reaction. The other thing was almost like a subconscious kind of way of thinking about the silver, was because being up here at Summer Hill, which is where my wife, myself, the dogs, we all live, is that because we get very cold winters, we get a lot of hoarfrost on the willow trees and stuff like that. So you're kind of walking around and just seeing silver, and next thing you know, I'm thinking silver.
David grew up in Orange and left when he was young, lived in cities, lived in New York, and has been living in Sydney for quite a long time and working at the National Art School. And so he and Gillian moved back to the outskirts of Orange, where Summer Hill is located, in only the last few years really. So this recent body of work is very much influenced by place. It's the place of Summer Hill that becomes part of these paintings.
In the daytimes here, when you're walking down towards the highway along the driveway, the afternoon sun comes down, and then for me, a motivation was that sun hit the dogs, and I go, gold, that's golden. And you could say your memory again, but because I snapped a photo of the dogs, I kept on thinking of this in terms of gold. And again, it's one of those sort of taboo things that I wasn't really ever going to paint with gold because it just was kind of wrong. But in a way, it was right in response to that, and because of the way that it dried, there would be enough aberrations in surface to give me another kind of quality. So I felt there was, in a way, enough of a hook for me, but possibly for the viewer.
The depth is built up through the layers of paint. So the gold paintings, for instance, you can see it in the surface of the paint, the various underlying layers come to the fore. In the black painting, you have this very strange effect of the painting coming out at you, but also you falling into it. So there is these amazing kind of visual and perceptual experiences that I think that the audiences coming to see the show will really love.
These are 2 paintings which will be in the exhibition, and these will be singular panels. They're of these silver greys, which are, I guess, a mixture of graphite and silver. There's something that, in a way, was kind of arbitrary, and that was just the choice of this graphite paint that I had hidden away for a decade. I just sort of found when I started to subjectively mix the paint, I started to associate with it, and also I started to find, in a way, a connection to the place. I've always sort of found that a question comes up in making painting, and if it means you've got to remove, say, something that is more popular or easily digestible, then so be it. Because if you've got to work something out, you've got to go down that line.
In these paintings, of course, what you find is not a picturesque image of this environment, but more a memory of a moment or several moments that David himself has experienced that is then evoked through these paintings. So this idea of the monochrome, of reducing down, a reductive painting, is something that drives, of course, this idea of reproducing a resonating experience. So really what you're looking at on the canvases are experiences that have been painted. The paint itself is so important because really what the works are about is paint. The process of painting, the painting itself, and what paint can evoke in terms of memories, place, experiences.